What's up, my YouTube nation? This is Legendary Justin, and today we're going to be doing a video on the top 6 things that I cannot live without. So starting off, what's up, my YouTube nation? This is Legendary Justin, and today we're going to be doing a video on the top 6 things that I cannot live without. So my first thing is my phones. So right now I've currently got 2 phones. I recently upgraded with the LG G5, but I'm going to have to wait probably a year or 2 before I upgrade again. I gave my other phone to my brother, which was a OnePlus One, and I got it for a very good price, so that was pretty good. I actually got all 3 of my phones for a really good price. I got my OnePlus One for $150 a few months ago. I got my Nexus 6 for $180, and then I got my LG G5 for $400 with the double battery thing. But anyways, yeah, so pretty good prices on the phones. Those phones are usually like double the price, or like $100 or $200 normally more on Amazon and stuff like that. So I got a really good price on the phones. Anyways, we're hopping right into the first thing. So first thing I got was the Nexus 6. I got the Nexus 6 a few months ago. It was released 2014 in November. It's a really good phone. There's pretty much nothing that's bad with this phone. I really love it. The LG G5 has a better display, has like more pixels per inch and stuff, but this phone has pretty much everything that you'd want on a phone. It's got this 6-inch screen, so it's got a nice giant screen. So when you're watching videos, it's really nice to watch. It has a 2K resolution screen. I got it in a red case, so it looks really nice with the red case. The background that it comes with is really high pixels and it looks really nice. The kind of apps that I put on my Nexus 6 are Facebook, Flashlight, voice recorders, Spotify, Subway Surfer, Twitter, Skype, settings, camera, Play Store, gallery, Instagram, YouTube Studio, alarm clock. And then I've got Facebook Messenger, Open Camera, which helps you change the settings on your camera on your phone. And then Google. And then I've got One Finger, which is this game. Smash It, another game, Crossy Road game, music player, Google Voice, and then Google Chrome. So that's what I have on my Nexus 6. So not too many apps right now. I also have smart voice recorder and some digital alarm clock stuff, but I keep it pretty basic on the phone because I just recently reset my phone. The only one drawback that I've noticed for this phone is the memory. So let's check, how much is the memory? I think it's 32 gigabytes, but, oh yeah, so the internal is either 32 or 64 gigabytes. The one that I got is 32 gigabytes, and of actual storage, I think it comes down to, let's check, it might be like 25 or something like that, or 30. So actually, even though a device says it's going to give you more, or it's going to give you like 32 or 64, it's not really actually ever going to give you that. So you just have to expect that it's not going to. So I'm just on my phone right now, and out of the 32 gigabytes, it says used out of the 25.98 gigabytes. So that's basically 26 gigabytes. So you lose about 6 gigabytes just with the phone doing its own things. Most of my phone is used in images, so I've got a lot of photos on it, and then a few on apps. So that's for my Nexus 6. So moving on, let's just show you guys the specs on it. 6-inch screen, it's 1440 by 2560 pixels. Has a 13 megapixel camera. It shoots basically 4K video. 3 gigabytes of RAM, so that's really good. 3220 milliamp hour battery. That's a pretty solid one. I kind of want phones to get 4,000 to 5,000 milliamp batteries, but they'll get a little bit thicker. But if you had the phone thicker and longer, just by a little bit, you could probably fit a 4,000 milliamp battery in there and have all this nice specs in it. But phones usually die during the day, so I'll show you my last item. I use a 20,000 milliamp power bank so that my phones never die during the day. But anyways, continuing on, it's water resistant. I kind of think it is. What else? It's Gorilla Glass 3, so that's just okay. Adreno 420. The camera, I really like the camera on this phone. It's not as good as my LG G5, but it'll do what it wants. I mean, it'll do a good job. So yeah, I use the camera on both my phones. Sometimes just to like test out how the photo will be in certain lights and stuff like that, or stuff like that. But generally, the more expensive your phone is, sometimes it'll be a better camera, and generally it will be if it has higher specs on the camera and stuff like that. But yeah, my LG G5 has a better camera, but this is also still a very good one because of the 4K video it shoots. That's about it. So we will show you the LG G5 now. So the LG G5, I picked it up a few months after I picked up the Nexus 6. It's a very good phone. Right now they're selling them, I think, about $550 to $600 on Amazon. I buy all my phones on Swappa.com. I bought this one for $400, so I got a really good deal. They're currently selling like $370, $360, maybe $350 on Swappa, so a little bit less. But I bought it back in like May or June, so basically like a month or two after it came out. So pretty recently after it came out, and now it's the end of July, so it's only been out for like 4 months or so. But it's still a pretty new phone. It's got really good specs. The one thing about the LG G5 is the battery is not good. I do not appreciate the 2800 milliamp battery. It dies really fast. If you can just like ignore the battery that is kind of low and use the power bank on it, it'll help. Also, it comes with a basically another battery pack, so you can swap the battery packs, and that really helps a lot. I use that a lot actually. So you just take the bottom of your phone off, you switch in the other battery, and then you've got a full charge. Also, this thing charges extremely fast. In about an hour, it's going to be about 80 to 90%, or basically 100%, depending on where you were at your charge. You pretty much want to charge phones to about 70 to 80%, because after that they start slowing charging a little bit. So when you get to like 80, 90%, it's pretty slower charge, but for the first 40 minutes, it'll get you about 80% in about 40 minutes. So it's really good. The technology on the phone's really good. You could get different models where it'd be GSM, CDMA, stuff like that. One thing that I forgot to mention on the Nexus 6 is the Google Nexus 6, which is made by, I think, just Nexus company, Motorola. But the current phone I have right now, it actually works on all towers. So GSM, CDMA, which is your Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile carriers, it'll work on all of the carriers. For the LG G5, it's only going to work... Okay, so yeah, your LG G5 is only going to work on the towers that you decided to choose on it, which is either going to be GSM or CDMA. Let's see. I forgot which one was which, but I know that GSM and CDMA, they have basically 2 towers per one. I think it's GSM is T-Mobile, and is it AT&T, I think, and then Verizon and Sprint are CDMA. I think that's what it is, but you guys can just Google and verify. But you have to figure out what towers your phone runs on. So if you have T-Mobile, you want to get the GSM, I'm pretty sure, and if you have Verizon, you want to get the CDMA network. But yeah, it has all the different types of versions of the phone right here. It was announced in 2016 on February, and it was released 2016 in April. So it's a very tiny phone. I wouldn't consider it like super tiny, but like I guess the old iPhones, like iPhone 4, like a 3 to 4 inch screen, pretty small, I guess. But anyways, this is a pretty small screen. But the best thing about it is, since it's such a small screen, it's that 5.3 inch. Because right now standard size for phones are like 5.5 to 6 inch, or at least 5 inches. But a 5.3 is kind of on the smaller side. But it's 554 pixels per inch pixel density. So it means you're getting a lot of pixels in each inch of the screen. It's really high. You're going to start seeing a lot more phones with 700, 800 pixel density. And the truth is, when you're on the LG G5 watching like a 4K video, it looks amazing. You can tell that there's so many pixels on your phone, and then it's going to look amazing when you're watching 4K videos. The only problem is, unless you have a really good Wi-Fi or internet, even if you put Ethernet in, you're going to have a lot of internet to pretty much load 4K video. What I usually do is I download them on my phone, and then it takes a few hours. But once you've downloaded a video and watched it on your LG G5, you're going to know like how good 4K can be on like a phone, so it's pretty cool. Also, there is an LG G5 with a dual SIM card. That's in case you have two different networks. That's actually a very good idea, because then you can switch out T-Mobile and Verizon or whatever, and at the same time, so that's pretty cool. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so for the specs on the phone, it's rocking a 5.3 inch 2K display, because these are basically 2K displays. There's only one phone that has a 4K display, and it's the Sony Premium Z5, I think, or whatever it is. But it's the Sony's phone. It's really expensive. It's a pretty good phone, but that phone's always really expensive. But anyways, this is a 16 megapixel camera. It shoots 2K video, or no, 4K video. See, the thing about the 2160p, that is 4K, but on a smartphone it's different, because your standard 4K on a computer or a TV screen is going to be it's like 3500 by 2540 or whatever. It's different pixel density. It's a higher than the 1440 by the 2560. So yeah, when you go on YouTube, you're going to see the pixel density as 4K. 1440 will be showing as 2K. So there's that, yeah. So anyways, this has got a 4 gigabytes of RAM, Snapdragon 820 processor. So that's one of the newer processors on a phone. There's some new phones that are going to be coming out soon. I think it's like the Note 7 or whatever, but maybe the Samsung Galaxy, what it would be, I guess 8? They would have new Snapdragon chips, but right now Snapdragon 820 is the classic. It's pretty much the newer one. The 2800 milliamp battery is not the best, but what else does the phone have? Oh yeah, so the cool thing about the LG G5 is that it has a micro SD slot that holds up to 256 gigabytes, which is, I guess, theoretically it could hold up to 2 terabytes, but 2 terabyte SD chips do not exist currently. But if you put a 256 gigabyte SD chip in your phone, you'd be set for a while. You would actually have to really try to make use of all of that memory. So standardly, the phone will come with 32 gigabytes, which is not enough. But if you put like a 64 or 128 or even a 256 gigabyte SD card in there, you'd be set, because then you could actually record a lot of 4K videos all the time and you'd be fine. Also, I've noticed the LG G5 is actually really good at recording 4K videos. So if you leave it on there for like 10-20 minutes, you should be fine without your phone like burning up and getting all crazy and stuff like that. I noticed that it only gets a few degrees higher in temperature. I haven't actually recorded too many videos on my LG G5 in 4K, simply because it takes a lot of internet power to upload 4K videos, and when you are transferring data over your phone, it's kind of slow. I mean, it can be fast, but generally you want to stick with 1080p right now for videos, because people are going to be watching videos in 1080p or less generally, but some people want to watch 2K or 4K for fun, or just to like watch those extra pixels. But I guess I can try to record more videos in 4K for you guys. The one problem about that is the fact that I do not have a 4K monitor yet, or a 4K TV, so I can't actually edit my videos in 4K. So in order to upload a video in 4K, it has to be a certain amount of pixels, and when you're updating it on your monitor or your computer screen, generally your computer is not going to be able to handle 4K resolution. So sometimes what you have to do is like double it up, stuff like that. In Camtasia Suite, it's pretty tricky business, but generally, until I get a 4K monitor or 4K TV, I'm not going to really be able to upload 4K. Anyways, it records 4K in 30 frames per second, 1080p in 30 frames per second. The one thing about this is I kind of wish that it would record 720p in 60 frames per second, or 1080p in 60 frames per second. Because I have noticed if you watch a YouTube video in 720p or 1080p, and it'll say 60p, which is actually, it shows 60 frames per second. It looks a lot better than your general 30 frames per second. But Camtasia Suite can also only record in 30 frames per second. So I guess that's a standard right now, but they should bump it up to 60 frames per second. I'm just saying because now we're in 2016. We're about to hit 2017 in a few months. We got to get up to 60 frames per second. There are a few YouTubers that record like 4K and 60 frames per second and all that kind of stuff, but it gets expensive. So yeah. Anyways, the camera's amazing on the LG G5. It takes really good photos. It has a super wide lens, so you can actually do 135-degree angle shots, which is really nice. I use both of the camera things. I use the I call it the triple triangle camera and the single triangle camera. The triple triangle is the super wide lens, and the one triangle is the 60 megapixel standard camera. If you're using the triple triangle, which is a super wide, I think it only shoots in like 8 megapixels or maybe 12. Because it has to do both of the cameras at the same time. So I don't think it does exactly the same amount of picture quality. So I kind of mess with that a little bit and try the different pictures. But generally, depending on what type of scenario you're in, if you really want to show a super wide camera photo, you'll choose the super wide. If you want extra pixels, you'll go for the single triangle for the 60 megapixel. So yeah.